Some international news now. U.S. President Joe Biden has nominated Reuben Brigety to serve as the next U.S. ambassador to South Africa. Brigety currently serves as an adjunct senior fellow for African peace and security at the Council on Foreign Relations. He's a former U.S. ambassador to the African Union and has served as Deputy Assistant Secretary of State in the Bureau of African Affairs. Brigity's predecessor, Lana Marks, was a businesswoman without any diplomatic experience. To discuss this is John Stremlau, Honorary Professor of International Relations at Wits University. Thank you very much, Professor, for your time this evening. So we know the previous ambassador, Lana Marks, was a Trump appointee, whereas Reuben Brigety is a Biden appointee. What does that mean for South African and U.S. relations?
Well, I should say at the outset, Annalie, that I'm extremely pleased by this nomination because I've known Reuben for over a dozen years, and I highly admire his interest in Africa, his intelligence, his diplomatic skills. It's a great appointment. It's made me as happy as I was sad to say goodbye to Patrick Gaspard 4 years ago. I didn't know Laura Marks, but I think with Reuben's case, you know, he has been dean of a graduate school of international affairs at George Washington. He stepped down as vice chancellor of the University of the South in Swanee. He was the first black American to head that university that was set up with slave money back 163 years ago. He's been a pathbreaker throughout his life, and I think he has a genuine interest in South Africa. Every time I'd go to Washington, I'd see him at the deanship, and we talk about South Africa. He wrote a recent article for Foreign Affairs on fractured power, which was about the divisions in the United States, tribalism, he called it. And he said that, you know, the Americans should look to Nelson Mandela and the Codesa process here for some lessons about how you overcome disparities and differences between tribal groups in order to make a more perfect democracy. So I think it's a great appointment.
He has no shortage of experience in African and Southern African affairs. He has also been described as fearless and unafraid of holding our diplomatic partners to their promises. So what can we expect the focus to be of his term in South Africa in terms of fixing some of the relations from the past?
He's a great listener, and I think he would ask the right kind of questions and exhibit a genuine interest in South Africa. Yes, he's had a background in Southern African affairs, but he speaks Amharic because his wife is an Ethiopian doctor. He was in Addis Ababa at the AU, so he can talk to President Ramaphosa or Minister Pandor about the African Union with great background and knowledge about the international relations of Africa. I just think it'll be a very creative period for good conversation. You know, Biden is going to be very distracted with his internal political polarization and the elections in Congress later this year and then the presidential run in 2024. So that I think it'll be a good opportunity for South Africans who are interested in the United States and where it's going politically to talk to Ambassador Brigety, and he'll give them a straight answer. He's always been a straight shooter ever since I've known him.
America is one of the world powers, but South Africans often forget that what happens internationally has a direct impact on South Africa. What is the political situation this year in the U.S.? What's the likely impact to be on South Africa?
Well, it's hard to say because the politics are very volatile. It is a democracy, but a badly flawed democracy, and a terribly polarized over race issues, which as an African American, I think Reuben feels deeply and can talk intelligently about the problems facing America. But we see this in the relations between South Africa and Russia or China, where there are two autocrats in charge of those countries. They are more predictable, but they're also more brutal. And America is a very diverse country and becoming more of a diverse country. I think America could learn some good lessons from South Africa. I'm writing about that now, and I think that Reuben will be extremely interested in seeing what he can take away from South Africa that would benefit U.S.-South African relations.
You say you know Reuben Brigety for more than a dozen years. What can we expect from him on a personal level? Who's the man who's coming to be the ambassador here?
Well, it's hard not to like the man because he does listen well and he asks the right questions, and we share common interests like in South Africa. So that I think that what people will find here is that he's engaging. He's engaging like Patrick Gaspard was engaging. Laura Marks was not engaging because she didn't know anything about the situation, even though she was born here. But that was a long time ago. And Reuben is only 48, so he's young and dynamic, and he's got a long career ahead of him. So I think he's worth investing in. And I think this is a good opportunity for South Africa to take his measure.
Thank you so much, as always, for your insights. That was Professor John Stremlau, Honorary Professor at Wits University.